Chicks. Well, we'll make the most of it. Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good
First, let me
evening.
apologize to the person that I said that I was going to put some music on my opener. I haven't done so yet. I did tell them I would do it the next day, which is today, but I haven't had time yet to do it today. So I do apologize. Like, again, when I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I try to follow through with it, like to keep my word. But before they leave a nasty comment going, I still, didn't know if my headphones were working or not, I apologize in advance. Okay, so we'll get that straightened out hopefully later on the day. But anyways, good morning. It is Caffeine Corner. It is Monday. I got my smug. Remember Ben? Do you remember this? I showed you before.
Yeah.
The smug.
Do you remember who came up with this though?
Is that the one that Kyle made?
No.
When you were like, you have my face on a mug.
Yeah, Kyle made
You have
one,
my
but
face
then
on a mug.
But then Cheshire made this one, but do you remember what it was from?
Oh, okay.
Cheshire, tell them the story real quick.
Okay.
No, wait, you don't want to tell the story?
No.
Why?
I'm gonna be
You designed it.
today. I did
Tell
design
the
it.
story.
So you mean that mug in particular? Like that design
Well,
in
the
particular?
story behind the smug thing.
Or this people call
And then the
Steve
fug
smug all the
and the
time. So
chug.
we made a mug, so it's a smug because it's a Steve mug. And so there was one on the old non sequitur Teespring, and I was looking at it and I was like, and Steve was like, "You have my face on a mug. How do we not have a partnership going on?" And like, there was one, they had socks, and one of the socks was Kyle and one of the socks was Steve. And he was just like, no, it's totally not 50-50, guys.
Oh my God. Just like that's like that pair of socks that you have that was orphaned. One of them was orphaned by the other one.
Yeah.
As long as you lost the one that had Kyle's face on it, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So when I was looking at the Teespring store, the mug was still there, and I was like, okay, listen, this design is garbage, and I'm gonna fix it for you. And so we ended up we have a series now. So now we've got the smug, we've got the fug, which is Red's Rhetoric, which is an angry upside down paper bag. We have one for me, it's called the chug, and we're gonna be working on one, it's called the pug, and it's gonna be Puck because everybody loves Puck.
Yeah, this started though because of Matt Dillahunty. So thank you, Matt.
You need to make a bug for me.
Yeah,
oh
bug.
yes.
There you go. But yeah, so Matt called me smug one time and it just kind of stuck. So I like that. And by the way, guess what they're talking about in the live chat before we get to our main topic tonight or this morning, depending on where you are in the world. They're talking about the King Cobra thing that you were watching. You want to tell people that? Because I was dying. I didn't listen to that.
Talk about.
Yeah, we just said I got to tell people about that, and yet they're already talking about it in the live chat before you've said anything.
You
Yeah,
said
he
to look at
did.
the
He
live
did
chat
a
to see what
live
people were
stream for
saying.
2 hours called "Dating Advice,"
Oh no.
and it was muted the entire time.
Oh no.
So much for the advice.
Must be
Right.
killer advice. So 2 hours he was streaming and everybody was telling him, hey, dude, you're muted. He didn't pay attention to the live. This is why it's critical to pay attention to your live chat, by the way. And what's funny was on the Non Sequitur show, Kyle originally didn't want to have a live chat. I had to talk him into it. I don't know if Bullinator remembers that, but way back when, I was like, we got to have a live chat.
I noticed a comment from Walter White from Breaking Bad saying Drunken Peasants was a lot cooler 6 years ago. The thing is 6 years ago, Drunken Peasants was only like 3 months old. So I guess you fell off pretty early, Walter White.
And you know what's funny is yeah, Ben, I mean, I got, people may know this. I didn't really watch Drunken Peasants back in the day. I like it better now than I did back then. I mean, I knew about it. I watched a few episodes, but I mean, I like Billy a lot. I don't know why. I haven't figured that out. I don't know.
Oh, he's adorable.
He's
adorable.
easily likable, even though he's friends with so many polarizing people, me included. Everybody likes him. And I've seen like me and him will do something together that pisses somebody off, but they only block me. They won't block him. So
yeah. But it's true. He's friends with polarizing people, and that's kind of the topic today because Billy got a chance to actually interview Onision, if you can call it an interview. That was kind of
Billy is disarming. That's why Billy seems like a lovable idiot. So
but he's contrarian.
Don't find him a threat. I agree, and I also don't think he's an idiot. I'm telling you how he comes across. He's not dumb, but he the way he carries and presents himself, he basically always enters a conversation making the other person feel like they're better or smarter or funnier than he is because he's so self-deprecating. And so when he does that, he can say something really controversial with or being friends with these controversial people who would otherwise not be interested in talking to anyone at all, such as Onision, because he's disarmed them because they don't see him as a threat in any way, shape, or form. Ben doesn't come across as not a threat to people.
Ben's threatening, yeah. Ben threatens people. He just goes around and I've seen him walk down the streets of Seattle, and that's all he does is kicks homeless people and threatens them. And
he's got the swagger.
Usually I'll give him a couple dollars here and there. I had one guy that was homeless want me to hang out with him and film him. He like asked me to. So I did for a little while.
Is that because he knew you're from Drunken Peasants or just saw you filming?
No. He didn't know who I was. He just knew I was on the internet and I had some people watching me. So it was interesting to him. I just watched him do his thing for a little while.
That's fun. I want to do the man on the street kind of stuff. And one of these days I'm going to get a camera. I'm going to get a GoPro or something. And I will start doing man on the street.
You still haven't fixed the music.
I know. I know. I got a bucket list of promises I'm never going to fulfill. And people are going to come years later going, look what Steve said. He's a liar, big fat liar. But I was going to do it with Brittany Simon. I wanted to do Man on the Street with Brittany Simon, but she moved and she was too busy for it. But that would have been really fun if you remember her. She was a feminist back on YouTube that lived not too far from me. But anyways, though, going back to the Billy and Onision thing, because I want to introduce Nikki, by the way. People may not People can see her picture, but Nikki is in here joining us, also known as the Serrated Kiss, a stalker friend of mine that has loved me in perpetuity, and then left me for a cat. But hi, Nikki.
Hello, everybody. I'm the resident Onision expert right now, I guess. I've been, which is
pretty creepy, by the way. Well, I don't know why you would study Onision.
Well, it's I don't know. A lot of the stuff that he does is so similar to like what my dad did to me and my mom and everything. Just the level of abuse and the kind of abuse that he did was quite similar. Ooh, plus, like, you know, people like you get demonetized. People like you, they lose their channels, and I've heard of other people losing their channels, but Onision's been doing horrible stuff for over almost like 10 years now, and he's still monetized. He still makes money off of his videos. So
well, he lost his Patreon.
Yeah, that's the only thing that he's lost right now. He's lost his Patreon, and then one other thing. And I think that was a way that he got money. But the Patreon was from doxing. He doxed Billy on Twitter. And Patreon's like, well, you might have done it on Twitter, but we still have a policy against doxing, so you're gone. And then that's when those really weird videos started. The ones where he's like,
ask Ben here, because Ben is known. You met Onision. Let me tell you, I know jack crap about Onision. I never followed him. I never liked him. The only thing I ever saw really of him was his banana video, which I thought was okay. But I was like, who's this kind of idiot? I knew he was friends with like Jack and Glenn. And they had a falling out or something, and I know that he had ties with Blair White. But other than that, I don't follow any of that stuff. Yeah. So I mean, I don't care about the guy. I think he was kind of creepy from day one, but I just was never anybody that watched him. But you actually knew him. I mean, you don't really do anything with him any longer, though. Right?
I mean, I don't know him per se. I have met him a few times, and I know people who know him and who have associated with him. I'm not really. I'm familiar with his story and everything. I'm not really familiar with him personally, more than spending a few occasions with him for a few hours, and they were always on a live stream. I've not spent any time with Onision in private or anything like that. So, but it is I have an interesting perspective in a way that I've actually met him in person. That's about it. But I'll tell you what, he's exactly the same in person, as far as I can tell, as he is in front of a camera. Because even when I met him off camera for a few moments, and he was acting like I expected him to act. He'll give you a compliment when he first meets you. He has this really weird personality. He tries to charm you at first.
Is that the disarm you, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a manipulation tactic. It's a manipulation tactic, and one of the easiest way to get people to warm up to you or like you really quickly is to say their name directly, because it makes it sound like you care more because you remember their name. Don't overdo it, but say their name and also compliment them on something, because they're more likely to warm up to you because you seem like a nice person.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, if anybody talks about manipulation techniques, I think Onision would probably be somebody that's probably mastered them. From what I understand, like I said, I don't follow too much.
And I do want to point out that it doesn't have to be used in a negative context. You can manipulate somebody in that you want to become this person's friend, so you're doing things to be their friend easier, right? So it's not always like manipulation isn't inherently on its own negative. It just has a lot of negative connotation because it comes with the baggage of that person is losing their own autonomy. But in a lot of situations, no. Most communication is manipulation because you're communicating something to elicit a specific response.
Real quick, somebody had said that somebody said the super chats aren't working. Somebody had left one earlier, so I had a problem yesterday. I tried sending a super chat. I think it was on In Time, maybe, or somebody I was sending a super chat to, and it kept coming up with an error message. I don't know if that's YouTube's thing. I have no idea, but I did get a super chat earlier. Maybe, I don't know. But if somebody tries to do a super chat and it doesn't work, let me know. But I also have the PayPal that I'll get a message on that as well in the video description. So I apologize if they're not working, but they should be. But I have the same issue with them. So it could be just a YouTube thing.
Might just be a your channel thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's particular to my channel, like I said, because I tried to do the super chat to somebody the other day and it wasn't working. So
that's what I mean. It was still you.
Oh, it's still me. Yeah, I guess my channel. Okay, fair enough. All right, Nikki, what were you trying to say?
Oh, I was just saying that we know that his end goal is to manipulate you into it was just something really simple.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's definitely a matter of it. Yeah. Like I said, this isn't inherently this way. It's quite clearly what he's been doing or has done in the past. So obviously in this situation, it is more of a negative. He is trying to manipulate you because he wants something, and that thing might just be control in the situation or the relationship.
We did get a. By the way, I do get these messages in real time. So Josiah sent me a PayPal because his super chat wasn't working, and he says, "Forgetting the chat on non sequitur." Thumbs up. Thank you, Josiah. Yeah, like I said, that really was my idea. So I was like, if we're gonna have something on YouTube, when we've got to have live chat because I want to be interactive with the fans. This is why I've always felt more connected to the fans from non sequitur than I guess Kyle did, because I wanted to be to them it was an immersive thing. I wanted the fans to be intricately related to the show. I know Ben kind of relates to this. You do the same thing on Drunken Peasants. Fans are your blood. I mean, you love them, and I know that you do care about them very much so. And that's one of the reasons I think you and I have a lot in common, because we do it for that. We do love the fans. We talk to the fans. We have interactions with them. Unveiling the Mask for $2. Check. Thank you, Unveiling the Mask. By the way, if you haven't checked out Unveiling the Mask channel, go check her out, please. Really good videos. But anyways, back to Onision. So Ben, can you give us the backstory of why Onision kind of got, I don't know, why he blew up, and what's the controversy with him now dealing with some of his past relationships?
Where he came from initially? Yeah.
I don't even know is this
like how he got popular in the first place.
Yeah, I can give a brief rundown on that. So he started in the very early days of YouTube. He came about at a time where any type of attention was positive on YouTube. Negative attention, drama, very, very good for the person causing the drama. And he had a huge fan base, primarily consisting of teenage girls, without a doubt. And he had like the emo hair and that kind of thing that was desirable for a lot of teenage girls at the time. And the first time I actually saw it, yeah, basically, and
he got
the first time I
actually,
YouTube. Yeah. The first time I actually saw Onision was a video that the Amazing Atheist made, where Onision was saying how disgusting meat eaters were, and how meat eaters were the most vile humans on earth. And that was the first time I had ever seen an Onision video, and that was probably, I don't know, maybe 2008, something like that. And then he blew up because he did the I'm a Banana video, and that got him on Tosh.0, so he actually got on national TV because of that. And he has 3 channels. Each channel has 1 to 2 million subscribers. And for a while there, you couldn't criticize Onision on the internet without being attacked by his fan base, mostly of teenage girls coming at you.
Like,
so he was he was kind of going out to be the by causing shit and drama. You mean he would essentially just go and say something to an extreme, like to be controversial, whether
exactly,
he believed it or not. Yeah.
And also any alliance he had, like anyone he collabed with, would later end up becoming his enemy and his content. Eventually, also.
Tosh is a lot somehow. I mean, we have like 3 people that have been on Tosh. I mean, there was Onision, who I don't really know, but I know Matt Slick. He's been on Tosh, and Bionic Dance. She's been on Tosh. Back then they were promoting a lot of the YouTube stuff because like you said, it was a ground floor, right? A lot of these people got this guy. I think got lucky. I didn't think if Onision started his channel like in the last 6 months, nobody would know who the hell he is.
Absolutely not. He would not get any traction. Algorithm buries that sort of thing now,
right?
So,
and it's frowned upon, I guess. But anyways, so he all right, so he was basically had a fandom of younger type girls that just were kind of fawning over him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. At the time, that was definitely true, and he was very successful for many years. And just recently, a lot of his fans turned against him because of all the people revealing personal stories of him. And I don't want to overstep our Onision expert here, so if there's anything I'm missing, just let me know. But that's what I have. So
yeah, most of the information I have is about the relationship. The Tosh.0 era was actually when he met Shiloh as well. There's going to be 2 people that have the most tumultuous relationship Onision, and that's going to be Shiloh and Sarah. When he was discovered on Tosh.0, that's when he met Shiloh, and Shiloh at the time was an underage. If I'm not mistaken, she was either 15 or 16 years old when he met her, and she was a pop star from Canada, and she's actually was in the top 40, and she had music videos out. She was very successful. So the Tosh.0 era is when he met Shiloh.
Now, how old was she then?
She was either 15 or 16. And then when they actually met in person in Pennsylvania, she was 16, and that was the first time that they allegedly had intercourse, which is
And
And how old
he?
was Onision? Yeah.
Onision, if I'm not mistaken, was 21 to 22 years old. Let me see if I have his age.
He may have even
here.
been old, maybe mid-20s.
Now, did
Yeah,
they go to that
according to
state just
Greg.
because it was legal there?
He traveled to
Okay.
Pennsylvania specifically because the age of consent in Pennsylvania was 16, and he had sex with her, allegedly.
Okay.
I don't have an age on him.
And is that according to
But it
him or
was
to
in
her
late-
or to both of them?
I think to both of them. I don't think he denies this.
Yeah, that's
no,
why I'm
he's
curious.
denying. He denies that he had sex with her that first time in Pennsylvania, but she is saying that he was, and he met her when she was 17, actually. And he made a point.
Now, there's no legal ramifications there, though, Nikki, is there? I mean, in that particular state,
There is. Yeah.
There is.
If somehow
because across the state lines.
Yes, if you move across state lines to have sex with a minor just because the age of consent is different, that is actually breaking a law.
Okay, so because
I
Cheshire's
think it might
17,
be
if
the
somebody tries to get her out of
Mann
Canada to the States, and tries to
I
sex
have
with her-
heard people.
Yes.
Yeah, I have heard people claim that this is a violation of the Mann Act. I'm not an expert on that,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean,
got-
how long ago was that, and what's the statute of limitations on that? Because one thing, I don't doubt that Onision's done wrong things that kind of skirt the line of illegal, but I really don't think Chris Hansen. First of all, I think Chris Hansen's just a drama streamer on YouTube now. That's my opinion.
I've seen a couple of those, and I have to kind of agree that I think he's doing something to bloat his kind of image again. But I hate to say it. I mean, Onision probably has done a lot of things, and again, I'm not a fan by any stretch of imagination. I just know if he has done anything that's chargeable.
No, I don't
Well,
think
see,
so.
that's
If
the-
anything,
That's
partner it has.
Go ahead, Nikki.
I think
that's
that,
the problem.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Greg makes a specific point to toe the line when it comes to it. He keeps like changing the things that he was saying that he was doing. But the most solid evidence that we have, like actual evidence of somebody breaking the law, is through Kai. And Kai has solicited and sent inappropriate images to people who were 15 years old, 14 years old, and they actually do have proof with that.
All right, so she was soliciting images for Onision?
Kai is a male. Kai is a transgender
Kai's a male, okay.
now.
Okay.
Trans.
Yeah. I don't know any of these people, any of these players. So Kyle's transgender.
Exactly.
Kai is
No,
transgender.
you're
Now,
fine, you're
was
fine.
Kai transgender when Onision was with her?
No.
So
And
what
Kai was
happened is
okay.
got together.
Okay, is it him now, or I'm sorry, let me get this confused. So is Kai male now or female now?
Currently
Kai is
male.
now,
Yes.
actively
Okay, female to
transitioning.
male.
So she started female, then she went to gender non-binary, and then finally to transgender male. And
Okay.
she had to stop taking hormones because she was actually breastfeeding their children. And then
Gotcha,
she started again, and now she fully identifies as a male.
So she is a he.
Yes.
All right, so again, I don't know how you guys keep track of this stuff, and I don't know. One of these, what's weird is I don't know why you would want to, but hey, whatever. It's really odd that people are fawning over this Onision, stories and stuff like that. I don't get it, and maybe you guys can maybe explain to me why this is
I
so
can explain that.
popular.
I can
don't
explain
know.
that really
I mean,
easily.
please.
It's watching a train wreck. It's watching
Is that what
a
you think
train
this
wreck.
is?
It's watching somebody. It's the same reason why people watch things like reality TV. And they're watching this person who had. It's the same the reason why people were freaking out and watching Britney Spears back in the day when she shaved her head.
Okay,
It's the
I can buy that.
same thing. And now it's a little bit worse because of the way social media works now, in that not only are people interested in seeing what's going on with this content, but they can get this content from so many different places with so much different information to be able to kind of sort out what's actually going on and follow the story. But on top of that, there's people that can make money off of it. And because these people can make money off of it, it bloats it or explodes it even more, because now you've got people who can take advantage of the situation. And some people aren't taking advantage of the situation. Some people are covering it because they're interested and they actually want to make sure people know what's going on, because they think it's valuable information to have for people one way or another. And then some people are just latching onto it because they can use Onision's name to get clicks, to make money, and they're not actually interested in what's really going on. Those are usually the people who are going to go around and be like, oh, well, I heard this, or oh, well, maybe this, which is what Chris Hansen's actually doing. Chris Hansen is like presenting like he's got new information when he actually doesn't, and he's making the situation worse just because people want to watch a train wreck.
Are you insinuating that people would actually be duplicitous enough to use people's names just for views? What?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
By the way, Josiah, another $2. He says through PayPal. Yeah, I know. I would say Nadine and I got pretty interconnected there. I don't know what that's referring to.
A non sequitur. A non sequitur.
Oh, okay. I know who Josiah is.
Jesus
now. Okay.
Christ, dude.
Well, I didn't recognize the name, but I know who he is now because I know who Nadine is and I know who she's with. I get it now. Sorry, Josiah. I didn't recognize the name. It didn't click with me. I'm sorry. But yes, they met through live chat on a non sequitur. I get it now. I wasn't putting two to two together there. At least I'm honest about it, right? I'm not going to try to get out of that one. But yes,
it's okay.
We actually have to meet their fiance on non sequitur through the live chat. How cool is that, Ben?
That's pretty cool. Like through the actual chat in the stream.
Yeah, they met through the live chat on non sequitur, and they're together now. Cute couple,
bringing people together.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I think I met Sweet Heathen through a live chat. I think. I mean, yeah, we had to have. Yeah,
I just saw it.
Yeah, she's out there modding somewhere. She's deleting people left and right, just going, I don't like you. I don't like you. No, I'm kidding. She hasn't deleted anybody. But anyways, all right. So,
I would accept that. She has power to do that over on my channel, and I would accept her wishes without question.
She got carte blanche, man. Do what you want. Yeah. But all right, so moving on with Onision here. So Billy from Drunken Peasants, I guess he was a long story made short, and then Ben could kind of give us the details. From what I understand, Billy was going to go up there to watch a court case that Onision was going to be a part of. I guess he was trying to sue some people, including Chris Hansen from and Repsion, who again I have no connections with. I've never talked to Repsion. But I guess he had a flat tire, but he ended up going straight to Onision's house.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. And they used to be friends, although he kind of ghosted him for probably half a year or more. But he just shows up one day at night, and what happens?
So they get there and they're IRL streaming the entire time, and they've probably got 2,000-3,000 people watching them live while they drive to Onision's house. And they get there, and when they first get there, one of Onision's neighbors assumes that they're there to mess with Onision. So she comes up and says that the police are on their way and that they need to leave. And they're like, well, if you're going to call the police and report my car, then I'm just going to wait for the police to come. That's what Billy said. I don't want to be driving around with the police chasing me.
Right.
So the lady got mad and went away. And by the way, the 911 call from that neighbor or one of the neighbors has been leaked. Yeah. And then eventually Onision comes out, and I think the audience was expecting Billy to be aggressive with Onision. And I think a lot of people that were watching didn't understand that Billy knew Onision and had a friendship with him for many years. So when Onision came out and they started acting cool with each other, the the audience turned on Billy. I mean, the whole time Billy was getting views and donations. That's what Billy does. He wants to get as many people to view him as possible in his IRL stream, and he wants the donations, obviously.
Billy's upfront
and
with
he
that.
doesn't
Billy is very upfront with that.
That's why I have respect for people that are in it for the fame and the money, that admit it and aren't like Chris Hansen pretending like they're part of law enforcement when they're really just someone on YouTube
helping.
Right.
Yeah,
Billy
is a bit of a narcissist. I mean, he self-admits that.
Like
I said, I agree with you. He admits he does it for the fame and the money, and I respect that. And I think Billy does have talent. I think he's a very good rapper. I think he's very personable. I think he what he does, he's good at. He's an entertainer. That's what he does. He likes to entertain, and he likes to make money off of it and have recognition. I totally get that. And by the way, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think his approach made sense to him from his relationship with Onision, because he was doing what Onision does. He's trying to be disarming, right? What, Chesh?
There's a few disturbing things that happened during it, though.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I mean, one thing,
yes.
when I get Billy in here and me and him argue, he doesn't give me an inch at all. But somehow Onision kept getting him to change the subject of what they were talking about, and he kept kind of, I don't know, he played swords with sticks and stuff.
You're honest, though. You're honestly having a discussion with Billy when you're having that conversation. You're not trying to steer it away. You're not trying to dodge anything. So you're not trying to manipulate Billy away from the conversation. So he can probably handle that just fine. And he's able to not give you an inch because you're honest about the discussion you're having. Onision wasn't approaching it from an honest point of view, so he was using one tactic or the other to try and detract from the situation that Billy, to be fair, also didn't want to be in.
And then there's the part where Billy froze like an assault victim. There's either fight, flight, or freeze. Billy froze, and Onision humped him. Humped him from the front.
You can tell he was processing.
Humped him from the back and pulled his hair. Yeah. And I'm like, I cannot believe that happened. I could not, and I even gave him shit for it, but now I realize I just don't think he had control of what was going on.
I don't think he did either. I think he was,
for me to say I would have handled it differently, but
too. But I mean, I could see he was kind of like processing this, going, "What the hell's going on here? What do I do?" And like you said, he decided his body probably just froze, and he was like, "What do I do in this situation?" And plus, he probably still didn't want to piss Onision off because he still was trying to have a conversation with them, and so he's
he was concerned that the cops. He was concerned that the cops were on their way, and he wasn't supposed to technically be there, according to the neighbor, whether or not she was telling the truth. And
can you imagine if he he's in a situation, or something? Yeah.
And he was in a situation that he didn't want to be in, and he was being watched by what he knew was thousands of people, and he had already had a rough day and missing going to the courthouse. Like, there was a lot of stuff going on with Billy that day, and then he got assaulted. And he froze. And freezing is a legitimate, that's a thing that happens. Some people go with it. Some people will be like, they'll get attacked and they'll just go along with they haven't frozen. They're going along with the attack because it's the way their body or their mind reacts to the situation, because it's the most defense mechanism that it knows to do. That happens.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's appeared to me as well. That's why I was saying on record that I don't think Billy deserved any of the crap that he was getting from people.
No,
I just not at all.
There was an expectation issue. There was an issue. I'm sure he would have caught flack one way or the other, but I think there was a miscommunication in what people were expecting and then what people received. Going to the courthouse would have gone better for Billy, period, because he would have been
bad luck all around, right?
It would have been during the day. It wouldn't have been like awkward and weird at somebody else's private property, even though they were on the road. So it wasn't like that. If he had been at the courthouse, I think this would have been way more what people were expecting, and he wouldn't have gotten nearly as much backlash, even if he was nice to him. But then with him driving to his house and being like, all right, we're going to drive to Onision's house and we're going to talk to him, makes it seem like something different's going to happen than, we actually just had a casual conversation because neither of us want to be here.
And all the way there, Billy's friend Joe was
Joe.
Oh, Joe.
Joe,
I gotta tell you, Joe. Joe is amazing.
God.
Joe is a gold mine to you. You know that, right? Just a literal gold.
Oh
mine.
yeah, I realize that. But
I
is kind of
fell in love
and
with
he
him
can't control
during
it.
that.
That's the difficult part
Yeah.
with him.
What's that, Ben? He couldn't get control.
No, he's a maverick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't control him. If he wants to go somewhere, there's no stopping him. So
Yeah.
I remember when he said, but when Billy was like, well, you hugged him. Because Joe hugged him too.
Yeah, and he was like,
oh,
oh,
so much crap.
That's
Yeah.
illegal.
That's illegal.
yeah.
So
I didn't know.
real quick, what was that court case about though? Why did Onision think that he had a case, and why was he representing himself? And it just
was a
got dropped,
protective
right?
order. He was filing a protective order, like a restraining order, so that they would stay away from him. Because
is that what it was? I thought it was a civil lawsuit.
no, it was
Okay,
he was
mistaken
taking a protective order. I think this was after Chris Hansen showed up at his house. Is why he got this.
It was an
But he
emergency one too.
Yeah.
And
Like in
what happened,
immediate
Nikki? Did he just
danger.
drop it, or did they deny it, or
He dropped it. He
dropped
dropped
it.
it. Like, yeah, Repsion got a lawyer, and then literally he's out $2,500. He's like, I'm not representing myself. I'm not going to go in there. I'm not going to walk into a trap. And then Onision sent a summons to the wrong Chris Hansen, and then he dismissed both cases. Yeah. Yep.
Wait,
No,
I got
I
a friend whose name. Wait, this is weird because I got a friend whose name's Chris Hansen. We have an actual friend, Ben, whose name is Chris Hansen, right? Did he really? That's his actual name. We love him. Well, actually, I'm sorry. She goes by she now, so I'm sorry about that. So Chris goes by she. I don't think Chris has changed her name yet, but she goes by she. But we love her. She's one of the smartest Bible people that I know. She's now a polytheist, but. Did she get served? Because that would have been hilarious if Repsion accidentally served.
That would have been hilarious.
I'm
guessing that
if she got that, we would have heard about it. If she was the one who got that court,
that would have been hilarious, though.
She's not dumb. She would have read that thing through, realized what it was, and been like, "Guys, you won't believe this."
I'm going.
I would love that.
I do want to point out that while Repsion did have to pay for a lawyer, he did also crowdfund the lawyer and ended up getting $20,000 out of it, which more power to him. I'm fine with that.
30.
Oh yeah. Oh, so wait. So Ben, are you saying
30,
that if you have some legal stuff, you should have some lawyers involved most of the time? Because I have a lawyer now.
Yeah. Well, he says so. Repsion says that he's almost 100% certain that Onision is just going to turn around and make a civil case against him on what you thought it was in the first place, Steve.
Well, on what grounds?
So all of that crowdfunded money, he's just going to put away to the side because he knows that Onision is probably going to try and sue him again.
But on what grounds is he going to sue civilly or Repsion? Again, I don't follow Repsion.
I think
I'm neutral to the guy.
Slander and damages. Yeah, that's it. Repsion just thinks it's probably going to be something close to like slander and damages related to that or something.
Has Repsion
he's not
really
sure,
ever
but
said
he's
anything
like,
that's not true about him, though?
No, he literally has always used his own clips against him, and he's actually had several copyright strikes put on him from Onision. And it's really funny too, because so Onision came to the courthouse and he was wearing either a bulletproof vest or everybody thinks it's probably a knife-proof vest, and like Adidas Predators, which that's also just absolutely ridiculous.
Somebody in chat has a good question that I think might be interesting for us to explore here. And they said they're playing devil's advocate, but is Onision responsible for the actions that stem from his illness? You would have to demonstrate that he has an actual illness that he has no control over first.
Is narcissism an illness?
Yeah, what illness? What specific illness?
I mean, would you agree that Onision
So,
is a true narcissist? Not trying to do medical diagnosis, but
I'm just not qualified. I feel weird saying that.
These are just lay people talking about these things. You don't have to be a medical professional to make a opinion. Have an opinion. These are not medical diagnoses, right? But yeah, he seems to me somebody. If you're going to talk about narcissism, he would be the archetype for that. Somebody like the one that would be the. I mean, he really is high on himself.
He's very obsessed with his appearance. He wears a lot of makeup. He spends a lot of time on his hair.
Wait, yeah. Makeup? I've never used makeup. This is me. I'm all natural, baby. I should start wearing makeup. Maybe it'll make me be like Californian, like Hollywood. Yeah. Not my style. I don't do this for any kind of fame or fortune because I don't make a lot and I'm not that popular yet. If I ever am, I doubt it. But.
Let's, for the sake of argument, say that he has narcissism to the point where you would say that you would classify it as it's an illness. He can't function in a certain capacity because that would be a requirement. You would have to have it
has to affect your daily life.
It would have to affect your day-to-day. So you would run into a problem of you would have to not only demonstrate that he has just narcissism to that degree, but also that he has it's compulsive, that he can't control it in any way, shape, or form, or hasn't been able to control it in any shape or form, which cannot be the case. And the reason that can't be the case is that you can't be manipulative like that if you're compulsive. You have to be able to control it.
Because he's planning.
The level of manipulation that he's been shown to have over these young women that he's pulled in is just, there's no way that it interferes with him because he knows what he's doing. Like, he literally has a 5 or 6 step process on how he gets these girls to into his life and then obsessed with him, basically.
It's a step program, yeah. It's a formula. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes, yeah. He has a full, a continual step formula that he pulls on almost every single person. And The Right Opinion just did a really, really good video on it, and he actually details out each of the steps.
Do you think he still does this? I mean, do you think he still is actively doing this to people?
I think he's toned it down so he doesn't get caught as much, but 100% he did that to Kai and he's still manipulating Kai. There could be a case made that Kai is not of sound mind because she's been abused and manipulated and shaped in such a way.
Kai's a he now, right?
Yes,
I know, it's confusing, right?
I keep doing that with Kai because there's other stuff with Kai and but yeah.
Now, do they have a kid together, or they have
two children? They have two children together. Yeah, and
fell out
just recently. Just recently, their 2-year-old fell out of a 2-story window.
What?
And Greg runs inside of the house and pulls out a camera and records the entire thing while his 2-year-old is bleeding out from a 2-story fall.
Wait. I have not heard this. This is brand new to me.
Yes, there's recordings of the ambulance call, and then while he's at the hospital, while his 2-year-old child is being treated for blunt force trauma, he is messaging, tweeting this horrible, disgusting sexual things, just the most ridiculous things you could ever imagine.
This sounds a little sociopathic to me.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why
I don't know if it's sociopathy because
keep in mind it's somebody who doesn't seem to have empathy, compassion, or the ability to understand.
Right, but there's sociopathy and there's sociopathy and there's psychopathy, right?
Yeah, psychopathy.
So the question is, so which one is it? And so
sociopath is less than psychopathy, isn't it?
No, it's not it's not less. It's basically the reason why you are the way you are is the main difference. And so it essentially means that has he always been like this, or is this something that's been developed? If it's something that's been developed, and I don't mean he's gotten better at it, I mean that has he always lacked the capability, or is it something that he lost somewhere along the way? Right, so
you're saying it's acute versus chronic, saying that.
Sociopathy essentially happens when it can be something traumatic. Let's say, for example, something traumatic happens to you, and the way your brain deals with it is that it cuts the neural pathway, essentially. So it cuts off your empathy. So you can't feel it like that because your brain can't handle that. So that's sociopathy. It's something has happened to you that has changed the way your brain processes this type of stuff to cut you off so you don't cause damage to yourself. So a psychopathy is you're born that way. You don't have it to begin with.
Yeah, I call it psychopathy, but
psychopathy and not sociopathy to me, but I don't really know.
So I just looked it up a little bit. Well, real quick, so we get the terms right, because again, I don't like putting out misinformation. It says here that psychopathy tends to be more manipulative and can be seen by others as more charming, lead a resemblance of normal life, and minimize risk of criminal activity. So psychopaths are generally manipulative. Sociopaths tend to be more erratic, rage-prone, and able to lead as such a normal life. So I would say he's more psychopathy because he tries to be charming.
Yeah.
He has a semblance of normal life. They talks about being dishonest, tends to be successful, manipulative behavior, narcissism, superficial charm, pretending to feel emotions, lack of guilt, remorse, and empathy. That'd be psychopathy. So maybe it's not so much a sociopath as a psychopath. I don't know.
I would probably say he's probably got some sort of issue, like disassociativeness of some kind, because he seems to be disassociated from his kid. He seems to be disassociated from like
reality.
The way a normal person lives. He seems to be
From
disassociated with what the actual views are of him versus how he views himself versus how he thinks people view him. It seems like there's a lot of like he doesn't understand, or he's disassociated from reality actually is.
Yeah, somebody says sounds like Steve. I'm like, yeah, I meet every one of those criteria. Yep, exactly. I'm the most dishonest person on the internet. Just ask anybody that uses my name. And Ben, by the way, there's a new thing, Steve McRae Exposed. You use that, you get views. It doesn't matter what it is. I always, every time I hear Steve McRae Exposed, I think that like something is like, I gotta check my fly or something, like showing naked pictures of me or something like that. It's really weird.
And you need to do a Drunken Peasants episode about this and bring me on, and we'll just talk shit about Steve.
Right?
Thanks for
dude. You have like 10,000 views, like right at like that, man. I was thinking about doing a segment, actually, Steve Exposed, but I wanted to mean that to be like, I want to expose people to new things. So what I thought about doing was having like new topics.
At night. It's going to be
we're going to do something like that too. We're going to do after dark maybe stuff, Ben.
Did you know
Steve Exposed.
The other day, we were supposed to do a Patreon show with Joe, but Joe got really sick, so we had to cancel it. And we're like, what were we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And Billy volunteered. I didn't watch it. I turned my monitor off. Billy volunteered to watch the pornographic content of Revelation News and Shanny for Christ.
Oh God!
And draw it while he was watching it.
Does that really exist?
Yes. Yes, and it's not a leak. They put it out there for sale, so it's not like it was like a leak or anything like that. Like they make porn and put it out there for sale.
I did not know this. Now again,
yes,
I happen to get along with Rev News. I never had an issue with him. We go way back, like probably 5-6 years, and so I never really knew Shanny very well. So I got no beef with her either, but I don't want to see either one of them having sex together. I just don't want to see that. I'd pay not to.
I don't know why that was his idea. It's horrible. It was horrible. Like,
are you watching
even just doing the sounds?
Did you watch it?
Oh God. No, he said he
I did not watch
it. He was like, hell
Billy
no.
was watching it. And then Billy was drawing it for you.
Yeah, because I have a bunch of different monitors in here, so I can turn off what I see and just put it just on his monitor. But we could hear the sounds of it, and it was very disturbing.
There's people in the live chat, I guess, that have seen it. So okay,
yeah,
that's the things I'm learning today. Wow, I am just blown away because, like I said, I didn't know about this, and I'm kind of wish I hadn't known about this because I'm sure that I'm not going to look at it. You know, some mofo's going to send it to me. You know, somebody's going to go, "Hey, Steve, here it is." I'll be like,
Shanny's been.
Yeah, like a thumbnail. I'm like, no, I don't want to see the thumbnail either.
God.
Yes, God.
God speaking here. Shanny's been coming into Pipmunk streams too, like not into the stream, but into the live chat. She's been sending him pictures of her twerk ass. Like, seriously, a picture of her twerking, which was just disgusting.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't. I you know what? Like
apparently,
I'm not going to really dog on her, but I just don't want to see that. I just don't.
Apparently, she's got a thing for Shabisky too. So I don't know what's going on with her.
Oh dear.
I don't know. Well, like I said, there are things I just don't want to ever see. What, Chesh?
Will you do it for charity, Steve?
Do what for charity? Watch their porno? Well, what is this like? This is one of those manipulative tactics. Well, Steve, you do things for charity a lot, so would you do this? It's like if you don't, then you don't really love animals, or you hate kids, or whatever, something, right? That's not how this works, man.
I know we
I'm okay with watching your reaction.
Every time you don't do this, I'm going to punch a horse in the mouth, which means it's your fault if a horse gets punched in the mouth.
Exactly, the manipulation. See this?
I have to give it to G-Man. That's the one smart thing he did, was pass on that. Just
now I thought they were. No, hang on. I thought they were dating at one time. Didn't they live together?
You know, yeah, I don't know if it's ever been confirmed, but there's a lot of rumors, and G-Man said a lot of very suggestive things about Shani one time when we had him on, and he was like licking an Oreo, being like, "This is Shani." It was weird. Yeah.
Can we end the stream now? I don't think I can continue. The things I'm learning right now, I don't want to know about.
We broke Chesh.
You broke Chesh. Chesh is officially broken.
Well, I have a lot of background information about like other people too. That's all like off-air stuff. So knowing that like Shani and another horse-related lady that we know were like both competing for G-Man, I guess at this point. Oh no.
I just don't want to know about this stuff, man. And again, I'm not trying to dog on Shani. She's never come after me. I have nothing ill will toward her. Look, I want to go on record. If Shani and Rev News are happy together, mazel tov, right? I mean, I'm not going to bag on that. I just don't want to see it. No offense. And if I talk to Rev, I'll be like, yeah, I don't want to see it. I don't think he would even care, right? I mean,
what if they invite G-Man over to make a movie with them? And all three of them.
Oh my god. It would be a special release. Pay-per-view, obviously.
It would break the internet.
They could call it the reverse double stuff Oreo.
You can have Brett Keane as the cameraman, right?
Oh my god. Laying on his belly in bed.
Yeah, exactly. Just that horizontal shot, you know.
Yeah,
he's been sniffing around too. I know we're kind of getting off topic, and I apologize, but that's what we do on Caffeine Corner. We never stick on the same thing. So hang on, Nikki. We'll get back to Onision, I promise. But Brett's been sniffing around. He came around the other day, and I was on the Great Debate Community channel, and I do some gaming on that channel, and I was on a fishing game, right? And some people were actually leaving comments like, "Why do you have fishing on here?" I'm like, dude, this is a channel that I do gaming on too. But he was sniffing around, and just I didn't really know anything about Brett Keane. How she did it, I don't know, but and so somehow we kind of like, hey, you want to do an interview with him, or you want to have him on? I don't want to do anything with Brett Keane, but that kind of, she kind of like, you know, was like, okay, I'll do a thing with him. We all talked about it. Some other people got involved, and I don't know what happened. It didn't happen. But Brett got butthurt.
I got a message from somebody saying, no, don't do this, and here's why. And I went, I mean, and then he was like, listen, your channel is just about to get reviewed and monetized. The timing on this is really, really bad. And also, maybe don't though, and I'm pulling a friendship card, and I'm like, all right.
Which is probably wise advice, by the way. I think that was very wise advice.
But I was like, because I was actually
Brett was
interested
so
in having the
butthurt
conversation, right? But I was like, I'm fine to have the conversation, but it's not going to be appropriate on my channel at this time. If there's another place to have the conversation, I'm down to have the conversation. It's just, it's not a good, like, my channel is just not, the timing's not there, and it couldn't happen there.
Yeah, so it's really weird because I had an email from Brett Keane like a couple days before that, right? And he's been very like nice kind of thing, right? He's telling me, hey, Steve, you know, you've had some shit happen to you, and God, you know, these people are idiots and these people are kind of mean to you, blah, blah, whatever. And, and he was kind of trying to wiggle his way in by being kind of supportive. Next day or something, I have a rule. I don't watch certain people and I don't watch anybody that I blocked. Now I haven't blocked Brett. I have now, but I didn't have him blocked back then. And I guess he was making videos about me, dogging on me, all kinds of Steve exposed and then Cheshire exposed. And I'm like, the day before, he's like, hey, these are shit people that are talking crap about you, because Brett and I go way back too. I've known Brett for a very long time. And all of a sudden, it's just because he didn't get interviewed with Chesh. He's become one of those shit people that he was before. So he does the whole thing like, hey, I'll be an atheist today, Christian tomorrow.
He hasn't become
that he's repeated countless times in the public eye.
Countless times. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely was guaranteed, because I know who he was talking to, and I know how these people are related because I spend a lot of time watching. And so, and I don't mean watching their content. I mean like being like, okay, so I know this person is friends with this person, and I know this person's been spouting this nonsense, and I know where that nonsense came from. So I know exactly this thread that I need to follow here to be like, oh, okay, and that's how that happened. So I can tell
I'm going to read it. Can I read his email? I know you don't do this, but it's Brett Keane, and I really just don't care. Okay. You want to hear his email?
This will be interesting.
If you want to do it, I wouldn't recommend it here and now, and I wouldn't recommend presenting it in that way, because you have a very high standard about not sharing stuff like this.
That's
so
true. I don't like. But
just because it's Brett Keane, it undermines your own standard, and I would not recommend.
Ben doesn't recognize this, but I have a very rigid, it's not really rigid, but I really do hold ethical considerations. I'm one of those people that sit up at night going, it's just the right thing to do, right? And I know a lot of people don't get that, and because of that, I get a lot of trolls. A lot of people think that I'm some kind of piece of shit, but it's really me trying to be ethical and doing the right thing by a bunch of people that have come to me with privacy concerns, and have told me things in private that I won't share their DMs, I won't share what they tell me. So I do get information from people that I cannot tell to anybody else, and that's just the way it is, because I don't want to violate their trust, right? Because I've been on 8 years. The people that know me, the people that follow me, know that I pride myself on somebody that people can trust, and I will tell them the truth. Now, I know a lot of people think that's crazy, and they're like, oh, Steve's just a blatant liar, but those are the ones that are just trying to attack me for the sake of being, numbers. They don't give a shit whether the things are true or not. So I don't like reading anything that people sent me unless I give me permission, right? Now, I have made an exception with Kyle, only because Kyle showed my messages, and this was going to be legal stuff that was given to my lawyer, and information. Yeah, it was going to be made public eventually. So I didn't have a problem with that.
Right.
But I did think about it. Right. I did have some moral considerations with that. So I do think about these things. So Chesh's trying to tell me, Steve, is this something that is what is a higher value to do this, to like read his emails or not to? And I'm going to go with Chesh, what she said here. I'm not going to read his email, but I give you the gist, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the gist is basically just supporting my channel, and then he's basically telling me that he has some empathy for me or something like that. I'm not going to do it verbatim, but this is the kind of what he's telling me. Which this is Brett Keane. I don't believe a word that he says, right? I just don't. But that was this was 13 days ago that I got this email. 13 days ago, and then in the last couple of days, I guess he's just been dogging on Cheshire Eye for views, and which is not getting.
I mean, I know he got kind of.
I don't watch it, but I'll see it come up, right?
This is what he does.
So I don't really care.
This is what he does.
Well,
he tries to bring you in. Hold on, listen, Chesh. Let me explain. This is what he does. He when he first meets you, he kisses your ass. Even if you associate with people he doesn't like, he'll kiss your ass and dog on them, and then then he'll try to start getting you to make content with him a lot and communicate with him all the time. He'll become very clingy, and if you don't abide to that, then eventually he'll just turn on you, and then you'll become his new target. He does that to everybody.
How long? Yeah.
Seems like a whole lot of what I didn't want to get involved in, and it seems like it's a cycle of behavior, right? That's what you're saying. He does this all the time. And it seems to me that we can actually loop this back around because, well, one, we already knew that Brett was dealing with a bunch of people that we don't discuss anymore because they're a waste of our time and they haven't brought anything new to the table. So if you were to actually do this with Brett, they decide to be like, oh, well, see, he doesn't like Brett, so he just did whatever he wanted and didn't stand by his so-called ethics, blah, 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 blah. It's a bait and it's not worth it. But we can kind of wrap this around.
Yep.
Brett is manipulative in that he's trying to create content and stir up shit and then punish you if you don't agree with whatever he's saying or whatever he's telling you to do, which is the same thing Onision does. Congratulations, Onision. You're the same as Brett Keane.
Yeah, but the difference is Onision gets views. Brett, nobody gives a shit. Nobody watches this stuff. He doesn't get any views out of it. And again, it comes. I don't subscribe to Brett. Explain to me YouTube here, Ben, because I don't subscribe to Brett Keane, but he'll come up and recommend it every so often. Or just like I don't know. I see a lot of people that I blocked. I don't have anything to do with, but I'll see the video come up in my recommended sometimes, and I don't understand why. I don't watch their shit.
It's because similar viewers of things you watch also watch that, because
that's right.
There's a lot of people that are just fascinated by the Brett Keane shit show. They're just fascinated by it.
Yeah,
they can't not pay attention to it. So similar viewers of what you watch will watch that too. One thing that you can do is you can click not interested or whatever it says.
Doing that. I got it. That's a good idea. I knew you can do that, but I haven't thought about that. But
that's now, but real quick,
you did you get rid of your crazy people segment?
Yeah, I took what was known as the crazy people segment because I split it into two, because it was a combination of people who were just kind of out there on the internet that were, out there mentally, but they were fascinating people, and I didn't really have a problem with them. I just thought that their weird world was fascinating. So we turned that into oddities, people who we enjoy watching that have weird ideas, but we don't necessarily see them as an antagonist. And then we created the antagonism segment for people who we actually have antagonism towards and antagonize us, or vice versa.
Okay. But he was a big part of that.
That's a good way to do it, because you don't want to over umbrella people and turn people off from things that you might actually be interested in having them like a conversation with them in the future.
I don't want people to get confused with who we like and who we don't like, because if we play someone we don't like and we rag on them, and then we play someone else later and we laugh at them, people seem to meld those two together and say that we're critical of, like, why do you bully this person? They're a nice person. It's like, we don't bully them. We love watching their videos, and we don't want that to overlap with someone we actually don't like and have a problem with. And Brett Keane eventually got his own segment called the Individual Brett Keane Segment Situation. Eventually.
Yeah, the situation.
Yeah.
But anyways, people are messaging me kind of this stuff, and I guess somebody actually commented, "Hey, somebody I guess today did a new Steve McKay exposed thing," and I'm like, but the person who did it is somebody who's one of the most reprehensible people on the planet, who believes gay people should die because they're gay. And they're doing an expose on me. I'm like, really? Okay, great.
Weird.
This is the person you go to for ethical considerations. Somebody thinks that gay people should die because they're gay. Okay, Anne believes the Earth is 6,000 years old. Okay, you do you. Again, I don't respond to any of these things, Ben. I have not responded to any of these people putting out shit on me because I just don't care. And if anybody wants to listen to them, those aren't the people I want as viewers. Those aren't not the people I want in my circles, because I'm sorry, but if you think you should have your ethical framework by somebody who thinks that gay people should die because they're gay, I want nothing to do with you. I'm sorry.
Well, right. And this is part of the problem, right? There's these exposed videos that come out, and there's a good number of them about Onision that aren't accurate, and that's a problem, right? Because that causes issue. It causes confusion, and it muddies the waters. Just because these people are desperate, they want clicks and they want to make money. So you've got Onision, who I'm pretty sure we can all agree is an asshole, has been manipulative, but we're just not sure whether or not how far like a legal issue may or may not be there, right?
Well,
but if you've got
definitely abusive too. Don't downplay the abuse that he actually inflicted upon these girls, because he was.
But I'll tell you what,
and he 100% groomed Sarah.
Oh, I think so as well. Absolutely.
The Onision subreddit right now, the Onision hate subreddit, and make a sock account and claim that Onision did something to me, and I guarantee you it will be believed. Because people just believe, if anyone comes at the anti-O group with a negative story on Onision, it's believed automatically.
It's not just Onision though; it's content creators in general. I mean, we have the same thing with our friend Lily Jean. If somebody wants to get some views, they'll say, "Hey, let's dogpile on Lily Jean, who's a content creator who does makeup videos that larger people, like one person had like 1 million subs, and they were." The millions of guys subs was kind of supporting her, but then there was people like 500,000 subs that are trying to dog on her. This person has 4K subs, and she's been cyberbullied since she was 15, and she does makeup, right? And people are going after her for views, I guess. But why do you need views on for somebody who has 4K subs? I don't know, but.
Well, we talked about this on that time of the month, and we had one of their haters or one of her haters come over, whatever, and we were like, okay. We're going to grant you all of the accusations that you've made. Okay, we're going to say all that is true. Does that justify the actions that you've taken on her, and or why? And essentially their reasoning was, I don't like her eyeshadow, though.
Yeah, but Chesh, isn't it true, though, if people say something about her, that people are just going to believe it? It's like if you say something about Chesh, or people say something about myself, there's a group of people that will buy by fiat. It doesn't matter. They can say Steve is a homicidal murderer that has killed thousands of people, and there'll be people that go, yeah, I believe that. It doesn't matter about the facts, doesn't matter about the evidence. There's just the accusations out there, right? You use these very hyperbolic words, and they do it, obviously, because there are people that will watch those videos. If I said, hey, Ben from Drunken Peasants is a mass murderer exposed, they'll probably get some views out of it, and they'll probably be like, yeah, you know what? I knew Ben. That dude, he had death written all over him, man. When he walked down the street of Seattle, he was just killing these freaking. I watched him do it. These homeless people.
I've seen it happen to me. Once the well is poisoned, there are people that will believe whatever they hear. Once it confirms their negative opinion about someone, they'll believe whatever they hear about it.
Yep.
No matter how strange.
Yep. Justinian makes a really good point. It's like that. It's like this with Lily and Lore too. I did an experiment with a sock to see if they did research to see if Lore was actually the owner of the sock account. But nope, my meme sock was labeled as a Laura sock on lol cows and meat. Like, wow.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you, Ben, how many times people have said like I am somebody or somebody is this person. Like I have a friend, Tina. I'll cut you. She's a hairstylist. That's how she gets her name, right? I'll cut you, right? It's a play on that. She's not a psychopath, and but people thought she was like AT2 Jared. People thought she was who else? I don't know, like Sean Hufford, I think, or I don't know. Other friends of ours. Yeah, and that they thought Cheshire was 17. These people don't care. It's like. They really don't care. And by the way, it's funny, Ben. They were more after Cheshire, going after her when they thought she was 17, and when it came out later, when she actually told her birthday, which she's 29, that they backed off. They only really seemed to care when she was 17, which really was kind of weird. When they were going after her, I don't get it.
It's bizarre. So it's like. Point being is that it's not helpful when content creators who are bigger or smaller try to use somebody's name without actually doing any of the work. You see it with Onision, you see it with us, you see it with Lore. I'm sure the Drunken Peasants suffer from that too. And it's like, if you want to expose us, then expose us. If you want to expose Onision, then expose Onision. You actually have to demonstrate how you know that this is true and actually prove that it is actually the case, which in a lot of cases they don't. And like, you shouldn't have to make stuff up about Onision, and in fact making stuff up about him is making things more difficult to actually suss out what's actually gone on and will turn people away from actually believing you. It's harmful to the victims of Onision.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing too. I mean, Nikki, you're somebody who stands up for the rights of victims and things like that, and you've seen this happen as well, right? I mean, people that have made false accusations toward people, and especially because I get false accusations all the time. I mean, this is my life anymore. People just make shit up, use my name, say Steve did this, Steve did that, Steve's a horrible person, Steve kicks puppies, whatever. Again, I don't care. It doesn't affect my life at all. My core fans, they don't give a shit. They know for 8 years that people will do this kind of shit. It's just the way of the internet. But it does affect real people that have been victimized. It does affect real people that have had people like Onision do this stuff to them.
Yep.
Is it not, Nikki?
Yeah. Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, when the girls first came out, I think Billy was one of the it was Shiloh. Shiloh was one of the first ones. She was bullied off of social media because nobody wanted to believe her, and in part it's because the mentality.
I do want to point out that recently, I just as a counter to that, recently Shiloh has been bullying people on social media.
God.
Is that
I don't know what
now,
she is doing.
Oh, sorry.
Yep, she started off so good, and then she's just been on a...
one of the Onision victims. Shiloh was probably...
But is that kind of common when you have a victim that's turned into a bully?
Canadian pop star she was talking about earlier.
Yeah, but isn't it kind of common that
arguably the worst stuff that happened to Shiloh. Like, there's a huge list of stuff that happened to poor Shiloh.
But Nikki, is that not uncommon? Is that we've seen people that have been victims become the abuser? I mean, we have a lot of people that are bullies, and we see it quite frequently. We see these people that go after people just because they want the clicks, which is, by the way, I don't know why they use my name. I'm not that a big YouTuber, right? I mean, I only got like 13,000 subs. That's not a hell of a lot. Now Sequitur had about 30,000, but I mean, I do philosophy and science, right? I mean, if you want to come after me because my science is wrong or my philosophy is wrong. Like I had somebody the other day.
It's all that rape apology, Steve.
Yeah,
come on.
But that's the funniest thing. That's the funniest thing. Like the rape apology stuff, when and people know that I'm against rape. I'm very supportive of people that have been victimized. A person I'm dating, has had things happen to her. Nikki has had things to her. Cheshire has. Every girl I know pretty much has had something happen in their lives, and I'm very supportive of that, right? So I am for the victim. And so when people run these narrative, it hurts them. And that's the reason I think they do it, Ben. They don't give a shit about Nikki or Cheshire or any of my female friends or Sweet Heathen or any about them. What they give a shit about is that they know by calling me names, it hurts them because it affects the victim. And that's, I think, is duplicitous. I think they're very, evil people because all they're doing it for is to try to hurt people. I'm here to try to help people. I don't want to harm. Now I will go after people that I think are dishonest and are harming people. But real quick, I got a PayPal. So Helios says, I've learned not to trust any exposed video, even if it's against people that I don't like. I now fact check basically everything as much as possible, and when not possible, I still keep in mind they could be wrong. And that's the way to do it. I am fine with that. Yes. Everybody who's ever said anything about me, go fact check it. And by the way, you know why I have a lot of a following, Ben? Is because people that have fact checked stuff and have asked me have found out that everything's been said about me is completely bullshit. That's why I have a following. So in some ways, they've actually helped me, these people.
It also makes it really difficult to follow things like the Onision story, because now if somebody is going to come in and go into that and try and figure out what's going on, they have to sift through a lot of bullshit. And it's like, where the hell are they going to start? You're not helping people stay informed. You're making it more difficult and harder to actually get proper, correct information out there. You're part of the problem. And
Chris Hansen's part of that too.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. He is part of that. And it makes it easier for Onision and other manipulators to take advantage of that and use that to their favor so that they can keep getting away with doing this kind of shit.
How is having Mr. Atheist on your show to talk about whether or not Onision's a cult leader helping anything?
And by the way, I don't really talk about Mr. Atheist that much because I think Mr. Atheist, that whatever his name is, right? He obviously, he is somebody that we don't much talk about, but we're going to have to because he was involved with the Non Sequitur show. But I think Telltale Atheist would have been a lot better to go on and talk. And by the way, I didn't watch the Chris Hansen thing, but Telltale Atheist, at least, I may not agree with a lot of things Telltale says as far as cults, but he knows his shit. And he shouted out my channel a long time ago, and I was very appreciative of that. But I think Telltale Atheist at least would have been somebody that I thought was qualified a lot more to go talk about these topics, right?
He did.
Neither of them are experts, though.
Oh, did he? So you know who Telltale is?
Yeah, Telltale did make a video about whether or not Onision was a cult leader, and he said that he believes he is. He used some model to determine that.
Yeah, I think
I know his modeling. He's talked about it with me before. Go ahead, Josh.
there's a conversation, a beneficial conversation that can come from recognizing mob mentality and cult tactics and what is and is not, and at what level is something considered a cult and what level isn't. And it could make a good example of something to talk about. But for the two people that were on talking about it, one, they're not the right people to be having that conversation, and two, that clearly was not their goal.
Did you watch the Chris Hansen thing, Josh?
The Chris Hansen one? No.
Okay, I didn't either. So, like I said, I don't watch anything with Mr. Atheist in it. So
Well, see, when you get Telltale doing stuff, he usually uses models. He gives examples, but when Mr. Atheist doesn't have any of that stuff. He doesn't have any models that he pulls up. He doesn't have any specific. He uses anecdotes and stuff, and it's like that's not. No. It's not the same.
You're not helping. You're not helping the situation. You're not actually educating anybody. Yeah. You're just telling people that they should think what you're thinking, and here's why.
I just feel like Chris is trying to prolong this as long as he can. That's my sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, he's trying to say relevant. I mean, he had some controversy a little bit not too long ago with check writing, and even though I don't think he did anything really wrong, it kind of tarnished his image a little bit. I mean, it's just it's the way of the internet.
And then
but by the way, they do
got in a lot of trouble.
They do use the BITE model, and that's that I know the model that he uses, Telltale uses. The model is called the BITE model, which is behavior, information, thought, and emotional control, right? So these things, if you want to use the BITE model and you want to say that it's a cult because of a person, I understand that, but to me, a cult is actually a formalized system in some ways, right? Could you say that that Onision uses cult-like tactics? Absolutely, yeah. But I don't know if that's just to justify calling it a cult. I think he has behavior control, information control, thought control, emotional manipulation for sure, right? So in that regard, yes, Onision has many traits of a cult leader. Does it make him one? I don't know yet.
There needs to be some kind of organization. If he's got some kind of hierarcy, then
that's what I'm thinking,
and also a way of going out to. Well, that's what I'm getting at. If he's got some kind of hierarchy, and then on top of it a reward system, and then on top of that people that like go out and kind of manipulate to bring new followers in, then you might have a better case. Not just the behavior of the leader himself, but the behavior of the group.
Okay, so two things real quick. So Onision in one of the early days actually created a religion/actual cult, and you can find it in the Wayback Machine. It was all about Seska. Thank you so much. I'm literally like looking through my notes trying to find the Seska thing. I'll link it in the comments if I find it. But he actually made a religion, and he is actively using Kai, his husband, to gather more supporters. And there are several girls with actual evidence that they were solicited and sent pictures by Kai, but a lot of times they were actually wondering whether or not it was Kai messaging them. And honestly, I think some of the times Onision has full control over every single one of Kai's social media accounts. He has complete access to her phone. And again, a lot of girls say that the language and the verbiage that would be used from Kai sounded a lot more like Onision than Kai. So honestly, I think that, I honestly think when you look at it like that, then there are.
I get that. But doesn't cults still usually have like a core a core belief system, generally speaking?
No.
Well, in his religion,
that's the way I kind of look at it. Again, I'm not saying one way or another. I'm not evaluating whether he's a cult leader or not. I will evaluate: do I think he has cult-like properties and principles and things that he does of what you would expect from a cult leader? Yes, of course, I do think that. But does that make it a cult? I'm not convinced about that. But real quick, it's funny is Nikki. Like people have like said like Steve's a cult leader, like they call my subscribers McCrazies or something like that, even though we use the term McCrazy to view these people that call these people McCrazies. But like Nikki is like one of my favorite stalkers. I met Nikki because she liked my stuff, and she was a very cool person, and I basically fell in love with her personality, and we've been friends for a very long time now.
Stop it.
But that's not because I manipulated her in any ways, because I happen to like her, and we got along, right? I don't know how.
I'm definitely the aggressor, though. I'm the
yeah,
aggressor.
yeah, exactly, right. I mean, I was the victim here, if anything.
Exactly.
She abuses me. She hurts me. But I didn't do anything to manipulate Nikki. I mean, right? She was the one like trying to chase me, which I'm flattered by. But I don't understand why they think these terms are pejorative and invectives, such that they like when they call my people that subscribe to my channel cult followers. It's like because they like my content. I've never done anything to manipulate them. Don't get it.
Well, we've kind of gone over this kind of stuff before, but I am more curious about what the standing would be for Kai, because we kind of have a lot of information and a lot of stuff going around about Onision, but I don't see as much stuff or as many people talking about Kai and the kind of situation that he is in that is because I'd be more curious to find out if people are going to find Kai responsible as much for the actions that he's taking.
Well, currently, right? I mean, currently there's so Kai and Onision, are they together?
They're married.
They're married. Okay, and so Kai is Onision's husband.
Yeah.
Yes. So Kai was a huge Onision fan. Kai, when Kai and Onision first met, Kai was going by the name Lainey, and identifying as a woman. And I believe Kai was under 18 when they first got together, for sure.
And they were actively trying to get. They were actually trying to. They were going after other underage women or something. Understand.
She lived in New Mexico.
And how old was
17 is legal there, and he flew down to New Mexico and lived there until as soon as she was old enough, he took her back to Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how was this before or after Shiloh?
After.
This was after Shiloh and after Sky. So Sky was his first wife, and then it was after Shiloh, and he started posting all of this stupid emo, where's my soulmate? And she literally commented on every single one of his things and said, I'm here or something.
Here.
And he slipped into her. Yeah. On February 12th, 2012.
Sorry, I just got excited. I haven't had a new member in a while, so
I think there's quite a bit of a delay in here for some of us, so it's like, sorry if I interrupt anybody.
No, there's a little lag. We got Chestar on Skype, and then Nikki is piped into. Nikki, are you on vMix? Because there's a little bit of lag on YouTube, but okay, or vCall, but go ahead.
Anyway,
Nikki, you take it. I just got excited. At my age, look, I when I get excited, I'm happy. So it does, I got a new member.
Got to keep that blood pressure.
It doesn't take much for me. Yeah, go ahead, Nikki.
Okay, so she started just messaging literally like just endlessly on every single one of his posts. And then the one that set off is he tweeted, "Soulmate, where are you?" on February 12, 2012. Kai replied, "Here." And then Greg DM'd Kai on Twitter and said, "Really? Do you really think you're my soulmate? If so, what makes you feel this way?" So then they started privately dating on February 27th, 2012, when Kai was 17 and Greg was 26. And then Greg now says that Kai had originally lied about his age, claiming to be 18 when they began talking, but I don't really believe that. And then in March 2012, Greg began wearing a ring. When he was asked about the ring, he seemed proud in that he was keeping his life private. Kai also began showing off an engagement ring in his personal Twitter selfies. And then Kai says that they met in person the first time on March 8th, 2012. So that goes from February 12th to March 8th, and they're already wearing rings.
Okay.
Kai's father didn't agree with the entire thing. Kai was banned from Greg's home. Greg moved back to Washington, and they continued their relationship long distance from June to August 2012. And then Greg moved back to New Mexico to live with Kai, but Kai's parents thought Kai was living at his college dorm room. And then they came out officially October 22nd, literally 6 days after Kai turned 18. And then they were married through the New Mexico court system November 14th, 2012. So it literally,
I definitely understand why that doesn't look good.
Exactly. Like the entire thing, it was 3 months. They were seriously dating and then engaged. And then within a year they got married, and it's
and they kept it private up until she was 18, so they wouldn't get any pushback.
Exactly, private because she was underage and then turned 18 6 days later. You know, all that stuff.
And circumvented the parents.
Exactly.
Because the thing is let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. Let's say that Onision is telling the truth. Let's say that Onision didn't know that she was 18 when he first hooked up with her out the gate. That does not excuse the additional time that you spent knowingly hiding it from the public, knowing you would get pushback, dipshit.
It was crazy. And then they brought in Billy after that, and that whole saga was ridiculous.
So would you say that it's reasonable to think potentially that Kai was a little bit, because of the fangirly-ish nature that he had towards Onision at the even before their relationship started, and the kind of stalkerish behavior he was presenting? Is it possible that Kai, exhibiting, thank you, was already maybe unstable and not in a place to be making these kind of decisions to begin with?
Oh yeah, she was manipulated hardcore in that whole situation.
But is she responsible for or in part to what degree do we think?
Honestly, when you look at how Onision treats these girls, how he manipulates them and brainwashes them, I think that the culpability should be spread evenly. Now, Kai made his own decisions. Kai straight up, got with Onision knowing what he was like. And if he did end up, he sent pictures of his bare genitals to underage girls. He should be punished for that. But I don't think Onision should get off scot-free just because, quote unquote, Kai did all of that. And I don't know. There's just, I think that she's being abused. And there's a little bit of evidence to support that.
It's also possible that Stockholm syndrome set in.
Exactly. I mean,
they obviously there's. Go ahead.
No,
I was just saying that all these people seem to have emotional problems, so to speak. Like I said, I don't follow them. I know the names only because I've talked to you and I've seen things here and there, but I don't really know them too well. But it seems like all the people Onision has around surrounding him are people that he can manipulate, and then when he has people that he can't manipulate, they're the ones that tend to butt heads. I mean, I've seen him obviously with him and Jacqueline Glenn have bumped heads, and Blair White have bumped heads, and some other people, because I'm not big fans of Jacqueline Glenn, but I mean, she's a strong-willed person,
Here's some other things you may not know about Onision. Onision is actually ex-military. He was in the military for a while.
Air Force.
I think it was in the Navy or the Air Force. Air Force. Okay.
Air Force.
And then also Onision told, when we had Onision here 2 years ago on New Year's Eve for like a few hours, and he told me, which I don't know if it's true or not, but he told me that when he was a kid, his dad abused his sister. I think he implied that it was sexual abuse, and that he beat the shit out of his dad. So that's a weird story.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. Do you think Onision tells the truth in this kind of stuff, though? I mean, is he somebody that is he kind of person that tells the truth to try to get, he mixes like truth with fiction or something like that? Or do you think that this is all fabricated? I mean, I can't say one or another, but do you think that's probably his true story?
It is weird because he totally volunteered the story. I wasn't digging for anything like that. I told him I was from Ohio, and he told me that he lived there for at some point in his life, and then he jumped to a story that when he lived there, he beat up his dad for molesting his sister or something like that. So,
which is weird because he has claimed that his dad molested him, or
maybe, possibly.
Yeah, that's weird because he's offered that information out before, so I don't know why he would. I mean, there's been implications that it was his sister too, but he's not in contact with like any of his family.
We're at the 90-minute mark, so we're going to be doing some questions here if you guys don't mind. But we do have a question from Godless Scummer. This is Chesh. He asked, don't know if you've covered this already, as I was busy on my channel, which he's very proud of, by the way. He's got a channel now. Good job, buddy. Go check it out. Go subscribe to him. But what are your thoughts on him being booted from some social media platforms? That's a really good question, man.
I think that there's going to be a give and take. And essentially it is that there's been a decision, like PragerU lost their court case with YouTube. They tried to sue, was it YouTube? Was it Facebook? They tried to sue one of the social media platforms because they were saying that their videos or their information was being suppressed and it was impeding on their free speech. They lost that, which essentially means at the end of the day that social media platforms, because they are a private business, are not liable and are not responsible for upholding the First Amendment, because the First Amendment applies to the government, not to private companies. They don't have to let you use their stuff. And that's a good thing in some ways and a bad thing in other ways. It's a good thing in that, a company shouldn't be required to let somebody who doesn't go along with the company's ideals use their platform because they're their own entity. However, it is a problem because now you have a situation where the town square is now Twitter. The town square is now Facebook. The town square where people can actually have these conversations are now entirely controlled by corporations. And that's a problem. And these are corporations that are not required to allow you to have freedom of speech. So you're going to have a give and take there, and it's going to be a problem. And to be quite frank, I have no idea how to fix it. To Onision specifically, I don't care whether or not he gets kicked off of social media platforms. I'm not convinced that isolating him further is helpful. But I do think that people need to kind of shut up about him unless they've actually got some real information to put out.
Well, and again, I agree with that. I mean, I think that these corporations have the right to not platform whenever they want because it's their platform, and I do understand that. And probably one of these days there might be a lot of channels that are in jeopardy because of that because they may not like what you're putting out, good, bad, or indifferent, right? But unless he has actually done something illegal, it's hard for me to kind of justify deplatforming Onision per se, right? Now, again, I don't care one way or another either. But
he's kind of weaponizing
he's a
it is
shitty
the
person.
thing.
I mean,
I
don't know. It's a hard call. It really is.
No, I don't think it's a hard call at all. I don't think so. I think that he has been trolling and hunting. I think that social media is his hunting ground for young girls that he can lure into that house. Because Sarah has said,
I think you're right on that. Yeah, I think you're right on that. Yeah.
Literally, there were girls coming in and out of that house on an endless basis. Fans, super young teenage fans, not like underage. That's not what she has claimed, but just teenage fans, very young fans, in and out of that house. He trolls, and he's a predator on social media. I think he needs to lose every single one of his social media accounts because that is where he is hunting, and that is where he is actually getting prey.
Let me ask you this: if he was preying on people that were all adults, 18 and above, again, this whole the age of consent in different states and different things is a whole different issue. But let's say that everyone he went after, he knew that was 18, right?
Yeah,
that is predatory behavior, but should it be deplatformed for that?
I mean, if he's an abuser and he's using his platform,
that's going to be a predator on manipulating women, which is not against the law. Now, is it unethical? Sure, but should that be something that person be deplatformed for?
Oh, that's a good one.
There is something to be said. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nikki.
Well, he's abused several of his partners. Like, there's a video where he's literally throwing candy corn and just inappropriate things that he's posted that he shouldn't have posted because the person wasn't in the right mind to consent.
Yeah, it really is walking the line. Yeah.
So I feel like
he can say that was a video because he's throwing candy corn at her, but her face is painted all dumb and stuff too. So it was obviously part of a video. So even if it was real that he was throwing stuff at her and she didn't want him to, he can just claim it was part of a video that they made together.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's so borderline that they can't really. I mean, and the fact that he's never been charged with anything, or even really fully like he's never been taken in for questioning or anything like that. They've come to his house, but
yeah, that's what I mean. I think that there's a different issue going on here, and it's an issue of timing. Should he be deplatformed? Potentially, yes, but he shouldn't be deplatformed until there's actually something substantial that can be demonstrated that is without a benefit of the doubt that he should not, or he is actually using the platform to do this. You would have to build a case. If Chris Hansen was being helpful, what he should be doing is building a case and using resources to be like, okay, well, let's have a conversation and say, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Should he be, here's how he did this, and organize it and present it. Here's this, organize it, present it. Here's this. There is content, there is information that could be brought out, but it's being bogged down by bullshit because people just want to get clicks and shit. But you could do a dive into Onision's Twitter while it still existed, pull all of the tweets he's ever made, then do word finds, search for specific words, search for patterns, then take each pattern, each one, divvy them up into, okay, so here he was with this girl acting in this way, here he was with this girl acting in this way, here he is with this girl, and then build a case. And if you can build that case and demonstrate that, yeah, no, he was then luring these women, whatever their ages, to his house so he could manipulate them into doing these things for him, so at the end of the day was without consent, then you could deplatform him. But until you can actually demonstrate these things, you have a problem.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yeah, it's just, I think that when we start deplatforming people, it's a slippery slope, right? And I mean, I've had shitty people around for ages. I've never suggested they get
underage people on their websites.
But that's only because they're dangerous, right? People that are actually sending death threats.
No,
get deplatformed.
Social media needs to, it's not Onision's responsibility to police himself. It's not Twitter's job, like the users of Twitter, to police Twitter like that. It's Twitter's job to police Twitter like that. Twitter needs to organize itself in a way that stops putting minors at risk, because currently it does, because there is no dividing line.
Their controls suck. Yeah.
So it's an issue of Twitter, and the question is, and it's the same thing applies to YouTube. Now we've got this stupid age restriction thing when YouTube was never supposed to be for kids, but because they've touted it that it's for kids, and because they made a YouTube Kids, but then were dumb about the way they presented the idea, they got hit by the FCC, as they should have. But they should have just kept this shit separate to begin with and not screwed it all up. But the same thing applies to Twitter. You can, and it's difficult, and parental consent, and you can just check a box to make a YouTube channel. It's not easy, but it is their responsibility because it's their platform. They're the ones that have the most control over the situation.
Yeah, I mean the whole, was it COPPA? What is it called?
Yeah, COPPA.
Yeah. So Lusty had to ask a question to ask Ben question time. Ask Ben about his thoughts of Chris Hansen being demonetized, but Onision still gets Google money. Also, does he think Chris will ever get an interview with Susan, Y2 CEO?
Okay. So first of all, there's no evidence that Chris Hansen's actually been demonetized. I think Chris Hansen isn't the most tech savvy individual. And I think what he's talking about is that he gets the yellow dollar sign after a lot of videos. I don't know if he got fully demonetized. If he did,
okay, there's a difference there. Yeah, because demonetized. Okay, a video can get demonetized, but if your channel gets demonetized, means you can never get any video that's monetized. Right. What do you mean by it?
And if he did get fully demonetized, one thing I will mention is that YouTube does play favorites, and there are certain protections in place for larger channels than there are for smaller ones. So they're going to favor someone with millions of subs over someone who has not so many compared to him anyway.
Yes.
And I don't think Susan Wojcicki will get interviewed like live on Chris Hansen's stream. I don't think that's in her best interest to do anybody's live.
I wouldn't even recommend that. If I was like telling Susan what to do, I would not. No CEO should go on Chris Hansen to live. You just don't do that kind of stuff. You have a business, right? And so you don't know what happens.
No, if
live.
she was going to do that, she should. If she was going, this is the YouTube CEO lady, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. If she's going to go on and talk to anybody, she should be doing a pre-recorded interview with some of the higher up YouTubers, and I would probably potentially.
I would never have a CEO go live if I was running a business.
I think it would be not in their best interest, but if they were good, then I would say yeah, because it would be really beneficial if you were actually able to do it on the fly like that. Like, so if you were really talented enough, in it, sure. If you were talented at it, if you knew what you were doing, and you are a streaming website, then I think it's beneficial for you to be able to actually properly utilize your own platform and be able to demonstrate that you can do that. But it's not really that big of a deal if you can't. So having a recording interview with Philip DeFranco and potentially some of the larger YouTubers, and then maybe somebody from the outside of YouTube that actually has a good understanding of business and of how YouTube does, like somebody who doesn't actually rely on YouTube for their income or whatever, would also be a good idea. And those are the people that I would recommend talk to her.
Go ahead.
I did want to point out that this has demonstrated to me, which I already thought was the case, but this is the biggest example of it. Cancel culture is toxic, even when the person getting canceled deserves it. The people that do this, most of them do it for entertainment, and they get fun and joy out of it, and it creates this really toxic environment that even if it was a noble cause to begin with, it gets totally dragged through the mud. Yes.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for, let's not conflate cancel culture and in what we kind of deal with versus my special in comedy didn't do as well after Netflix paid me $20 million.
Right.
You didn't get canceled, dumbass. You got criticism and people didn't like your jokes.
No.
I just want to be mindful
real quick got canceled. That kind of canceled, where your career, where they try to end your career.
Oh yeah, well I get, dude. That's like a game on YouTube anymore. Let's try to cancel Steve. It's like I've been on 8 years. I
Steve
do nothing against
and
TOS.
Lily and
Lily gets canceled.
There's a bunch of people are trying to cancel Onision, and that's not what they should be doing, and it's hurting their own cause. It's not your job.
You heard it here. My co-host compared Lily Jean and myself to Onision. You heard it. Cheshire.
I've been doing it for a while. I don't know if you noticed.
We're all cult leaders. Lily Jean, cult leader. That'd be funny as hell. I just want to remind people that to support the channel, because Cheshire now gets a percentage of the super chats. Bull God is a paid position now. And so just to cover cost, just like 1 or 2 super chats will help do that. Just FYI. I mean, I don't mind if I lose money on these things. I again, but it'd be nice if I at least break even. Because these videos do get demonetized. Ben knows from experience the whole demonetization thing. It's ridiculous. And what's funny is, Ben, is a lot of them I'll get reviewed, and I would say it's 50-50 whether it's going to get approved or not. But when it does, I've already got like 3,000 views or 1,000 views, 2,000 views or whatever.
Exactly.
And nobody's going to go back and watch the old videos. So it's just for all practical purposes. Even if I get it reviewed, and if they go, oh yeah, this is suitable for advertisement. What does it matter at that point, right?
Hey, Nikki, our halftime of the month is monetized. Halftime of the month got monetized.
Chester, have you had a video yet that didn't get yellow?
Oh yeah, I do art. Oh yeah.
Okay. Except for the art videos, that time of the month videos. Have you had one of those?
Okay, so neither of the first two that time of the month videos, after being reviewed, were monetized, but the half time of the month, I was able to get reviewed and they monetized it.
Okay.
We were very focused. We tried to tell Nikki to calm herself down, and it worked.
Yeah, by the way, if you guys don't know,
it wasn't you guys. It wasn't you guys. I'll tell you right now, it wasn't you guys, and it wasn't the topic. I'll tell you exactly what it was. Is the tags. I adjusted the tags.
Okay.
Ben?
I've done streams where I've tried to be a sweet boy the entire time, like watched every word I said, didn't swear, didn't make any dirty jokes, and that stream will get demonetized. And then I'll have a stream with Jeffrey Epstein in the thumbnail, you know, and like everything wrong in it, and that one will get monetized fully. There's no rhyme or reason behind it.
I'll split that with chess, of course, as well. Because super chats aren't working too well right now, from what I understand. A couple people having problems, but yeah. PayPal.
By the way, you can't even mention coronavirus, or you'll get demonetized. You know what? People have died.
There you go.
10 miles
away. My video. Thank you. I was kidding.
People have the only people who have died from coronavirus in the United States died about 10 miles away from where I live, and I'm not allowed to talk about it on YouTube, or else I'll get demonetized.
Oh yeah, no, I heard about that. So one of the persons that died was like 10 miles from DP headquarters. There's a case south of me in San Diego, and there's another one. There's been another one north in LA, which I'll be in LA on March 17th. And so that's pretty scary. Now, I don't know if these are. I would think that a lot of these cases came from somebody coming in from somewhere else, right? I don't think the legal method that started.
Actually, there are some domestic transmissions that have happened, but the two people that died, basically, the virus got into a nursing home. That's where the fatalities are from. There's a nursing home in Kirkland, Washington. Which is actually where the headquarters of Costco is. If you shop at Costco and you're familiar with the Kirkland brand there, that's named after Kirkland, Washington, where this nursing home is.
So they had a compromised immune system.
Yeah, because it attacks the lungs. So if you have COPD or bad asthma, that sort of thing, you're more susceptible to it.
Do we have any more questions in the chat, Steve? I didn't notice any, but
I am looking right now. So somebody asked if PayPal is better than Super Chat. Yeah, PayPal doesn't take anything. Now, I just send money to Cheshire because she lives in another country and she has a funny money. PayPal sucks, and so I have to cash her out here at some point, which I'm going to probably do today or catch up. But she, it's weird because every time I send her money, it's like a few bucks, and that adds up quite a bit. If I'm only making $10 a show because I got to pay Bull and got to pay her, and then we got to pay an additional couple bucks to send her money. I just told her, hey, I'll just have it as accumulation, then I'll pay her out on one thing. But PayPal is always going to be better than Super Chat, sure. And I get I check my emails. I have a legit emails tab open just for that reason. So if somebody sends a PayPal, that's
YouTube
just as good as
takes 30%.
But I don't want to do like wait. I don't want to do PayPal me for donos. PayPal me for donos. I hate that shit. I don't like shilling at all. I mean, I get like people like Billy who do it for the money and the fame. Yes, I do it. I need to be supported. This is my full-time thing, and I get that. But I don't really promote myself that much, and people give me shit for that. I probably should more. Yeah. I'm not good at it.
Real says move her ass to California. Steve, are you gonna move me to California?
Yeah, come on down. You would hate it.
That might be too much sunny for me. I'm kind of goblin-y.
She would burn.
Maybe too much sunlight.
That's why the Pacific Northwest is like the blend of both. It never gets too cold, but then during the summer, it's way cooler and not humid than the rest of the country.
Dude, there's only 3 states of weather up there because I know I lived in Bremerton. There's raining. Yeah. Just rained or about to rain. That's it. That's all.
No. It's changed. No, it's changed.
Oh,
it's
really?
changed now. During the summer.
Warming.
Yeah. During the summer, it dries up. All the grass turns brown, and we'll get 2 or 3 months without rain. It'll never get above 75 degrees, but it'll never drop below 60 degrees. It'll be like that all summer. It's so perfect. It's unbelievable. The rain, actually, if you look, there are many, many more cities that get more rain per year than Seattle, including cities like New Orleans. A lot of if you count overall precipitation, Columbus, Ohio gets more precipitation. A lot of it's snow during the winter, but it's more precipitation than Seattle.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the weather up in Seattle because it was just cold and damp all the freaking time.
Misty rain too. It's not that heavy downpour.
I don't. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say I don't mind it. It's just, I mean, it's just constant up there. But we have another question. We are getting kind of near the 2-hour mark when we end things at 2 hours. Goddess Scummer asked again about this is the Nikki about Onision filming Shiloh having a seizure years ago. Should that have got him kicked from YouTube? Which, by the way, I know about actually that. But was she actually having a seizure, or did they determine that could have been staged? I don't know.
No. Nikki? She had the first of many grand mal seizures. Full grand mal seizure. She got amnesia. She forgot where she was. She forgot her age and everything. It was brought on by stress, by the abuse that he was giving to her. And again, everything that I'm saying is all alleged. This is what these ladies have said. I have put it directly from their words off of their interviews onto this. So it's all alleged. But she had the first of many grand mal seizures, and he recorded all of them. He said that he was not going to call the ambulance and did not. And he said that, oh, well, I'm going to record it so maybe we can help other people. And she says that, like, she was just having, like, breakdown after breakdown, and it caused that. And she still has seizures to this day.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I was
eventually
pretty weird.
Eventually, he was like, "You get," because she was Canadian. He was like, "You get free healthcare in Canada. Go back to Canada." Like he made her go back, and that's right. No, that wasn't what happened.
No, that was that. Okay, so she got pregnant. So there was a whole pregnancy debacle. They had like 2 or 3 really weird pregnancy debacles. So one of them, she said that she definitely was pregnant. And then she had a quote unquote miscarriage. People don't really believe in that one. And then she had an actual, she was pregnant, 3 months. They got the sonogram confirmations. He ordered the people that come to your house and help you, like a natural childbirth coach, which was $5,000 a day. And then she had a miscarriage because of all the stress. Like he would kick her out of the room and make her sleep in the hallway. He threw her up against the door. That miscarriage happened. Then she's like, you need to take me to the hospital because I'm going septic. Went in and confirmed that the baby was dead and that she would go septic if she didn't get medical attention, and then stopped taking care of her medically, everything. She had lost her job by that time because he cut her off from her family and her recording studio. So she was 100% dependent on him. And then she had to go back to Canada herself to get health care to get rid of the baby. And then, that's why she went back. It wasn't exactly his choice, but
well, he didn't want to pay for
why.
it.
Yeah, it was the miscarriage that made him do that.
I have a quick question just to verify. So you're saying a lot of this stuff is alleged, and you're saying it's coming from interviews. This is coming from Shiloh. This isn't coming from secondary sources. This is what Shiloh said has happened to her.
Yes, I literally I watched all of the Chris Hansen videos.
Yeah.
I watched all of the Repsion ones. I read their transcripts, and I directly put their words down. This is what she said in her interviews about the situation. Herself. Okay. Shiloh said all of this. Yes. Yeah, and then there are some backing up that you can find too.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we weren't causing problems by saying, oh no, somebody allegedly said this. So like, no. This is Shiloh talking about her experience in those places.
Yeah.
This isn't like, well, maybe. This isn't speculation. This is a direct source. Yeah.
Yeah. This is directly from Shiloh. This is everything that she said.
Right.
I just let people know. If you do join, by the way, you do get a pretty green color. You don't have to worry about slow mode.
It's goblin green.
It's goblin green. We are coming about the 2 hour mark. I don't think we have too many questions. Again, I think this has been kind of played out with Onision. This is why I've never done anything about Onision on my channel. I don't use names for clicks. I just don't give a shit. If I don't like the topic, I'm not going to talk about it. I have a motto on this particular channel. I talk about what I want, with who I want, when I want. Nobody tells me what to do on my channel. It just never happens. And if you want to watch, great. If you don't, that's fine too. I have a lot of independence on this particular channel because I'm not beholden to anybody. Although I do listen to people. Cheshire gives me advice. And I have other people that give me advice, and I respect that. And so I take it on board. But
you saw it happen live today.
She shits on me all the time, but that's what she gets paid for on this particular show. I mean, I want her to be a kind of a counterpoint sometimes, because if not, it gets boring. I don't want, people have this weird thing. It's like, you have to agree with Steve, and yet I'm like telling people, no, please don't agree with me, so I have fucking something to talk about, right? That's what Cheshire comes in. But
what
Ben,
color does somebody turn if they're blue and green?
If you're a mod and you become a member, I think you become green, don't you? Yeah, with a wrench. I haven't been monetized. Well, I've been monetized for a while, but I haven't had the join for very long. I had to set all it up, and it is a process. It's not easy.
Yeah,
it's a step-by-step process.
I think to help wrap up, I think one of the things that we can take from this, because I think there isn't, I agree, there's not a whole lot more to talk about with Onision unless something new happens. But I think what we should take from this is, research, expose videos, actually look and see what's being said and what is allegedly, what's coming from an actual source. Do they actually source where they're getting information from? Is some of it just, it's a lot to dig through, and don't just take a lot of stuff on face value. And on top of that, like, Onision deserves a lot of the hate that he's getting, but bullying and cancel culture aren't helping the situation.
Right.
Like, they're not going to help.
It led to his victimization too, right? Because then he can claim victimization narrative. Because victimization is a big thing, man. People will. I think I've always said the last resort of a troll is playing the victim, because we'll see a lot of people just go, "Oh, I'm being victimized," and it's like, no, you're the bully. You're the bad guy here. You don't get to claim being a victim, right?
If you start sending death threats to Onision, what does that help? In what way does that do anything against Onision outside of, if you do manage to cause him a little bit of stress, where does that stress go for him? He takes it out on the people around him. You're causing more of a problem. You're not helping the situation. In doing this kind of thing, you're making things more difficult, and you're going to make people sympathize with him. So attacking people who don't think he's done this or just putting out information after information after information and just spinning the wheels of rumor and spinning the wheels of slander and bullshit doesn't bring anybody to your side. It hurts your cause, if nothing less, because now people are going to be less likely to believe the victims of Onision, and they're going to be less likely to actually be against him, and they might actually are more likely to buy his victim story, to say that, well, look at all these bad things people are saying about me. None of it's true.
Yep.
Stop being part of the problem.
Yeah, be part of the solution. That, you know what, that's a good way to end it. Be part of the solution. You know what, this channel and me in general, I mean, we like helping people. This is why Cheshire and I do Caffeine Corner. We want to make people aware of things. We want to help people be better critical thinkers and reasoning. This is why I do my Ask a Philosopher with Nick Suter, who's a philosopher. This is why I have Landon Kurt Noel come on for science. And by the way, yes, we have a lot of things planned, but unfortunately we are in stagnation mode at the moment, which sucks because I got a lot of good ideas, but I can't do anything with them yet. But this is what we do. We want to help people, but if we have to make a determination of people that like watch our stuff, whether they want to help or harm. You be neutral, sure, but I mean, I think a lot of people. There's this weird thing on the internet, Ben, and I think you probably attest to it, that there are people that rather harm than help. They're just shitty people that want to harm. This is what they get off on. This is what they enjoy. And anybody who want to watch this stuff, more power to you. Go with God. Well, it's just that those are not the people that I want on my channel. Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I'll say about those kind of people is that they're not even the main characters in their own lives.
Oh, that's true. They do kind of default to other people. I mean, their lives revolve. With those kind of people that talk shit about people and they have to make things up for views and just wants to expose them.
Oh, yeah.
It seems weird because they have deferred their entire lives to somebody else. Like, people's lives revolve around me. I'm flattered. Their entire lives. And Ben, I'm not, this is not me being egotistical, because I'm not. this is actually a fact. Their entire lives revolve around me. And I think that there have been people in your life, the same thing, right? So you get what I'm saying. Yeah. It's weird.
That's what I mean. Yes, we are the main characters in their lives. We are the main characters in our own lives, and most people whose lives actually have value and worth to themselves, they are their own main character.
I don't understand it, but you know what? It doesn't make much of a difference to me at this point. Just Ryan, we have fun doing this. We have a lot of people that have been in our community for a very long time.
Our goal
it's fun.
Is to educate people. Our goal is to educate people so they can recognize these kinds of toxic behaviors and avoid them and not get caught up in them as easily. Let's say somebody like Nikki was going around without the information and know-how that Nikki already has. And they went into figuring out about Onision, or like you were talking about with the subreddit, somebody will just say something and they all just run with it and it turns into a mob. Being able to recognize those things and recognize how they're problematic is helpful. And that's what we try to do here, to prevent stuff like that from happening. Exactly. Even if we don't like Onision, or even if we think that he is a problem, the thing is that we don't want these things to happen to him, because we don't want to, there's no point in accusing somebody of something that they never did. Yep. You don't need to make up shit. The same thing applies to Trump. You don't need to make things up.
That's a good point. Exactly. I'm not a Trump fan, but I have some people attribute things to Trump that just wasn't the case. And it's like, well, this isn't helping anything because, and so I agree with you. But anyways, we do got to wrap it up.
Calm down, please. MSNBC.
Fox
Stop
News.
being part of the problem.
It's funny. I will leave it this. It's funny. I used to watch Fox News back in the day, right? But I've noticed this, and this is true. I have noticed this. If you look at a headline that CNN has, or MSNBC has, or NPR has, right, and the all seems kind of being generally in line, and then you'll see a headline from Fox News, which is completely different, a completely different read on it. Have you noticed that? I've seen this happen.
The same thing, but the complete opposite.
I can't deny
takeaway.
That. Yeah. It's like they got a completely different takeaway. It's like, really? Okay, this is bizarre to me. But anyways, Ben, I want to thank you for joining us. Nikki, I want to thank you for joining us. If you guys haven't subscribed to Drunken Peasants and what's wrong with you, I probably might. I'm not going to help your subs because we've got 155 people watching, and maybe 1,000, 2,000 people might watch this. They probably are your subs anyways. But if you haven't subbed to him, go sub to Drunken Peasants. I'll be on there, I believe, March 10th. I think.
Yes.
Something along those lines. I know. Yeah. Well, I have a calendar. If it wasn't for Cortana, I would be lost. I'd tell her to schedule an event. Yeah, I use her. I do. I'm not kidding. I love Cortana. But the only thing I don't like about it is if you tell Cortana something, then she gives you a alarm and a reminder. But if you enter it manually, it's a little bit differently, and you can't do much with it. You have to schedule it through her. But anyways, Nikki, you got any last words for us about your stuff?
No, not really. There's just so much that he's done, and there's so much that girls have said that he's done to them rather, and it's just a very complex situation. There's so many different facets to it. When you do look for information on the situation, if you are interested, definitely Repsion is a good source. The Red Opinion is a good source. And again, just like Cheshire said, don't take it on face value. Make sure that they have screenshots of conversations. Make sure that they have actual quotes from these girls. And, don't bully people, please.
And that's good advice. If you're not sure, go to the source. So like if you don't know whether or not Onision is this way or that way, go watch him and assess it for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, people go like, "Oh my God, Steve's a bully," and I'm like, if anybody thinks I'm a bully, they're not the audience I want, because that's just ridiculous. You
don't need to. You don't need.
I'm not going to argue with them. I'm just gonna be like, think what you want, go do your thing. It's just not wasting my time.
You don't need Repsion to tell you whether or not Onision is a good person or not. You can watch Onision directly and make that distinction.
Yeah,
you don't have to watch other people to find out if Steve is a good or a bad person. You can watch Steve and judge based on his actions and what he says. And keep in mind that you can disagree with somebody and then they're not that doesn't mean they're a good or a bad person. You can disagree about the definition of atheism, and it doesn't make you Satan. But
well, it does.
If you want to know
if God forbid I should put a video out on atheism, right?
Look.
Go watch. Ben, leave us with anything you want to leave us with. Promote your stuff, and then I will take us out.
Yeah, just follow me at Drunken Peasants on YouTube, and I'm also at Drunken Peasants on Twitter. And then there's my other channel, Benpai. You can search me under Benpai or at Drunken Benpai on Twitter. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for having me on.
I'll put the links in the video description.
Next time of the month is on Tuesday. It's on the 10th. Not tomorrow.
All right.
Next week. Second
by the way,
Tuesday
I really
of every
like
month.
that. So, Josh, when you fix the audio levels to be better, but I really like the way you've done that. I love the fact you have Sweet Heathen on, Nikki on, and Golden Unicorn Manyan. Those are really 4 voices that I think are very strong, that should have a platform, and you give them voices, I think, is exceptional. So thank you for that. All right, so Bull and Abe, go ahead and take us out. One thing I'll leave you with is, hey, go green, join, become a member, and fight global warming. Go green. Get it? I thought that was funny in the live chat. Go green. If you're against global warming, join the channel. Become a member.
Bad dad jokes brought to you by Steve. See you guys next time.
I love dad jokes.